Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another long-awaited episode of Hoops After Dark. It is finally great to be back. I am one of your hosts, Deandre Henderson, and thank goodness my boy, Sam Kingery. Welcome back, brother. It is
What's
good to
up?
see you, bro. Long time no talk, man. Everything been rolling good with you?
Yeah, busy with work, busy on my channel with the World Cup. That's kept our, usually kind of, unless there's an Olympics or like a World Cup, it's usually a kind of quiet summer. We got baseball, but usually summer is a little quiet in the sports world. But between the World Cup and NBA
What
off
World
season,
Cup, by the way? Holy smokes.
if you listen, I know we have a different set of fans on this channel compared to mine, especially when I talk soccer. If you haven't watched some World Cup, if you haven't enjoyed the soccer and
You've missed.
you missed out because and just quickly before we go on, I won't say another word about soccer this entire time. If you enjoyed any of this, I'd like to tell people that soccer is played aside from every 4 years. It is played in MLS in your hometown, in your home city. It is played in USL in your home city if you're an American, or MLS if you're American. It's played around the world in August through May. So if you like some, tune in.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, but
Uh,
let's talk some NBA and some
let's
off season.
freaking go, Sam. I don't think you understand. It has been one of the more interesting off seasons that we've had in a while. Lots of juicy trades. Of course, you got Giannis to the Heat. You got Jaylen Brown going to the
Mhm.
Philadelphia 76ers.
The early
LaMelo
stuff
Ball.
happened early.
Yeah, that's all that stuff happened early. But now we're in the real meat of things where now things are getting finalized. We've got summer league going on. You guys have gotten a chance to enjoy number one pick Dybantsa. He stood out once again, just like a sore thumb. He
Mhm.
is a absolute dynamic scorer. And our episodes, if you remember back talking about the NCAA tournament, um, raving. I thought he was going to win that first round matchup just simply because his name was AJ.
Yeah,
And the way he even played that game was phenomenal. But first summer league action, he stood out like a sore thumb. Derek
absolutely.
Peterson, beast,
Uh, and
absolute stud.
As a Kansas hater, it was hard for me to like and I was just concerned about the injuries thing in general because it's just always hard with a young player, like, you don't know what that means and when he didn't play a lot,
Yeah,
but I would like to I am glad that he looks like he's okay, and I hope that the injury thing that happened at Kansas this year is just gone because it was weird. We never got explanations for it really.
it felt uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I'm glad that clearly the teams weren't concerned about it. He was still drafted high, and he looks like he has all the talent. So that's good. That's good stuff.
One guy that I want to apologize for not being so high on was that Cameron was Boozer.
Mhm.
What he is just a solid mass of a human being, and he takes up a lot of space, and he's nimble on his
Yeah.
feet, great finishing ability.
Mhm.
Memphis really got them. That's their stud. That's
Yeah.
their guy.
I
And
kinda like I kinda like the Grizzlies bringing back a little bit of grit and grind. They
yeah,
got a
they're
lot they
going
got
right back to the Zebo and
a lot of
Marcus.
big guys. A lot of big guys. They're gonna be hard to deal with in the paint. They're gonna make nights. I hope they kind of embrace this mentality of making maybe not being the best team, but making every night difficult. Like,
Yeah,
you come play 'em against Memphis, and it's not gonna be an easy game. You don't maybe
if
they
you remember those Memphis teams when they had Mike Conley, Zebo,
Marcus Ball.
Marcus All, those guys. If imagine if they had like an Anthony Edwards back then.
Mhm.
Imagine that they would have made so much noise, and they were a difficult matchup to prepare for.
Yeah.
They beat you up, they slowed the game down, mucked it up. Tony Allen was in your star's
Yeah.
face, and you just didn't have a fun night against the Grizzlies. Granted, you beat them a lot,
Yeah.
but they needed one more star back
Yeah.
then. That's
And
what they
and and you know what? I think that really embraces the small market and kind of the Memphis mentality of and, like, I'm a small market fan for most of my teams, like, I'm a St. Louis guy, and I think that's what small market fans, especially, like, middle of America small market fans appreciate the most is not you don't necessarily have to be a winner, but making playing your ass off and making every night, no matter, your talent level, working your ass off and making the other team work for it. I think that's what's really that's what those fans appreciate. And it kind of always with like Dylan Brooks and Jaw, I don't want to say it felt inauthentic, but it kind of felt like
They're
they
going
were,
away from what they were good at. That's what
yeah,
it felt like.
yeah, and they just it wasn't the same. And like I don't want to disparage those guys because those guys were talent. That team did have some promise at one point. I don't know. I kind of like this, and I'm not that shocked by Cameron Boozer because I always said, of all the guys in the draft, this guy has the lowest. He has the highest floor. Like at his worst in the NBA, I felt like he'd at least be a solid guy. Like
Yeah,
he'd make a rotation and he'll be in the
15 and
NBA.
10,
Yeah,
15 and 8 type
he'll
of
be
guy.
in the NBA for 10
Bunch of
years.
him.
I don't know if he's gonna make multiple. I can't guarantee he's gonna make multiple All-Star games, but a 10-year, like, starter player in the NBA, absolutely, I think is, like, the minimum for him.
But see, that's the problem. And I underlooked it because I downplayed the value of someone who could just come in and be that quote unquote boring guy. His game's not flashy. That's why he's not going to be a 10-time All-Star. Where he's going to make his bread and butter is his efficiency rate
Yeah.
and how strong, how tough, how, he's got a great
Intelligent
touch around the rim.
and
And he's, yeah, like I said, he's nimble. That's
mhm,
the word I would describe Boozer. He's just nimble on his feet.
mhm,
So they've got themselves. They're going in the right direction. Memphis,
yeah.
great way to go.
A little stability for Memphis, which I think is also something they've
Facts,
been missing.
facts. Same
So
with
yeah,
Caleb Wilson. We all called that too, man. Like that. Like holy smokes, that kid can go.
yeah,
That
and
kid's a bull.
I will say that the one thing this draft class has 100% proven, and it's summer league, like we talked before the pod, like Keaton Wagler struggled, but he had a decent game tonight. And struggling in your first summer league in your first like kind of NBA moments, I'm not really gonna say anything about a guy's career, like what I
Yeah,
project too much. But
yeah.
I think this
It's a
draft
pretty
class
good
has
indicator,
proven,
though.
yeah, it is. But I think this draft class has overall proven that we were correct that there's a lot of them that have something that they can give. Whether it's immediate, I don't know, but I'd say we will see a lot of these guys be impactful in some way in the next couple of years in the NBA.
Let's put it like this, Sam. Those top 4 guys all had claims to be the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Let's just put it like that.
I think
That's how deep.
Cooper Flag is in this age group too.
Yeah, like that's just how deep this class was. And we mentioned it time after time after time. This class was this draft was one of the most important drafts because you needed to get yourself a piece.
Mhm.
There's always something going on. Yaxel Lindenborg
Yeah.
absolutely played out of his mind. And holy smokes, he looks bigger and stronger and he just looks smoother than everyone out there.
Mhm. He does.
Yaxel had a good summer league. Um, like we talked about with Wagler, he struggled a little bit. So did Darius Acuff,
Yeah.
Sacramento Kings guard. Sam, I don't know if you watched those Sacramento, but I paid attention. They hunted him, and that's
Yeah.
how it's going to be every single night. You're
Yeah.
going to be put on island after island after island. If I were him, I would call Jaylen Brunson and say, "How do you deal with this, bro?"
Yeah. And you know
Because
what? You know what the best way to learn is? Having that happen. Being on a
you got
team
to
like,
get your ass whooped.
yeah,
Yeah, you got to.
get your you like there's gonna be people, I'm sure that there will be people both for clicks and because they believe it, that are gonna do like the popular media thing, which is to like just
Sure.
write off a player to just if he struggles defensively this year, which it looks like he probably will, to like just be like, ah, he's useless. I'm not gonna do that because like this is how you learn. It's the NBA. Like he's a smaller guard that's gonna get hounded on a probably not great team. That's okay. I'd if I'm the Kings, this might be the best thing for him.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. I was gonna say, like, the more he goes through it, the more he's gonna keep expanding his offense. That's never gonna die.
Yeah,
But now he's gonna pick up little tendencies on defense to make himself at least not huntable.
yeah,
That's the thing what you want to do. You don't have to be a great defender. There's only a handful of guys that could be on any single one person and just completely shut them off.
yeah,
Guys like Tony Allen, Pat Bev. Pat Bev slept on as a defender. That guy was just he was so good.
he was.
Um, you
Still,
you
he couldn't rotate to centers like some bigger guys, but he just on the yeah,
he would make
incredible grit.
and he would do his part to muck it up as much as he could if he
Yeah,
got caught on that
yeah,
island with the big.
yeah,
But What I was saying is that Darius is going to get that experience. He's going to go through it every night. He's going
Yeah.
to have those high scoring guards coming down the court, hunting him, trying to get buckets, and it's okay. Like you said, Darius
Yeah.
Acuff is going to be just fine. Um, Keaton Wagler, I believe he's going to be okay. He needs to get a little bit, I believe he needs to get a little
Yeah.
stronger. He's a
Yeah.
little slender right now, but the NBA trainers and muscle, they'll get that done.
He's an 18-year-old kid or 19. Like
He's 19 years old. He was
he
just
put
like Wemby when he came in the
yeah.
league. He's 19.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
he has the offensive ability to crack into rosters and to get his, ability and get his physicality up. It's just gonna be a learning process for all of them. Meleek Thomas is leading all scorers. Look
Man.
looks he has kind of a flamethrower on him. He 20 I mean, it's summer league, but 28.3 points a game. I mean, we'll see how that continues to develop. He is, on the Cavs, so little bit
Damn.
of a heavy guard room right now, but let's see
If
if
you
he
average damn near 30 points in any capacity, I
yeah,
don't care what the level is. That is difficult to do.
yeah,
So, and
and
it's not like he's jacking up a bunch of shots. He's shooting it at a
it's
pretty
relatively pretty efficient, yeah,
like a really good clip.
yeah,
So, if he's gonna shoot like that, Cleveland, guess what? You just got yourself a nice little flamethrower to replace the shooters that you probably can't pay and
yeah, and
lose.
and they needed more depth. The Cavaliers needed more depth. What I come away with most out of this summer league, and we'll talk about off-season moves and a bunch of things, is that a ton of these teams are pretty happy.
Yeah.
Like, is there any team that's, like, super unhappy right now?
No,
I don't
I don't think there's not one. The Wizards are probably through the roof if they keep their squad and stay healthy. Even teams like the Thunder, because Amara struggled a little bit. He looked tired. He looked like he just wasn't in shape. But few more games like that, he'll be fine.
yeah,
The Thunder are gonna kick his ass into shape. What a
yeah,
piece that's gonna be. You got freaking Jesus. The Grizzlies are super happy.
no,
Like every single team, all the way down to the champ Knicks. All the those
yeah.
the whole teams are happy.
Yeah, I'd say most teams are happy. Most teams feel like they've either expanded in star power or in depth, which lends itself to hopefully another good NBA season and hopefully more teams emerging. But I think if we kind of like to talk about it now as we're getting into past the summer league, but I kind of like want to talk about all some of the moves we've seen. We had the early moves of Jaylen Brown, the big moves. We still haven't got LeBron news, which we'll talk about in a little bit, LeBron. But, like, we got the big moves of, like, Giannis and Jaylen Brown. And now teams are starting to sign their depth pieces, their 5th starter, their 4th starters, we're starting to solidify some rosters. And while I say every team is pretty happy with, the direction they're going in after this draft and after, some of the moves being made around, there's a couple teams that are, I would say, not just happy, but they're beefing up in ways that I think really show their ambition. And the 2 teams I feel the most of that way are Charlotte and the San Antonio Spurs.
Mm.
Um,
And the
those
Spurs were just in the freaking finals.
The Spurs were just in the finals. We obviously knew that we didn't know exactly what they were kinda missing, but we knew that they knew they were gonna need to change a few things, and we knew they were gonna be aggressive because, I mean, when you have a player like Wemby in a roster like this,
You
all young
gotta take
guys under
it right
control,
now.
you have to take advantage, and they've signed Tobias Harris, and a lot feel like a lot of people, and one of the reasons we were kinda pitching maybe even LeBron to them is they needed veteran leadership. They needed an additional person that could play a little big minutes and be a larger body, to fill out that rotation, and they've really done that, with their signings. I mean, what's the ro I'm gonna pull up their roster, but what do you feel about the Tobias Harris signing especially?
That specific signing is what made me realize that Spurs know exactly what they need to do to surround Wemby to make him a little bit greater. You need
Mhm.
to surround Wemby with 3 and D type of players. He's
Yeah.
all generational type of defender. That young man truly cares about protecting the paint and getting stops on defense. So what Tobias Harris brings is 6'9" length. You bring shooting. He shoots a great clip from three. He plays defense. He's been there before. He understands what it's like to play on a big stage, and he's gonna give Wemby that extra sense of relief that say Dylan Harper and Castle aren't going. That's that like I'm not trying to say him and this guy are on the same level, but that's their OG
Mhm.
Anunoby type
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah. Yeah, they got Harris, Tobias Harris, obviously, they re-signed Harrison Barnes. I know he didn't have the most amazing finals, but it's still a good veteran piece for them. Um, they drafted well with, you know, uh, some of their draft picks I was pretty happy with. I think it was exactly kinda what they needed. Re-signed Dylan Harper to a multi-year contract. You know, I think they've done exactly what they needed to, and I think they're rearing up for another year where they think that they can go toe to toe with the top of the West and where they're gonna challenge for a title, and I think Tobias Harris is a great acquisition for them. And I think more aggressively, if you're cool with rotating to the Charlotte Hornets,
Man,
boy, they because we thought, the Hornets were a frisky, cool roster. We thought that, they were kinda building something. They went from, like, building something to, like, they're kinda, like, pushing now, if you get what I'm kinda saying.
no, they say, "Look, we're gonna make a splash. We might as well do it now. Blow
Yeah,
it, blow it up. Let's move on. Get some assets. Get
yeah,
better."
yeah. I mean, you sign guys like you brought in Nas Reed, you brought in, you bring in a guy like Grayson Allen recently. Grayson Allen, just a consistent NBA player, gonna give you good minutes off the bench. You trade LaMelo for Nas Reed, but I think they're pretty happy with what they saw out of Knipple and, out of Brandon Miller so far in their careers. Um, yeah, LaMelo, you lose LaMelo, you lose that kind of wild card dynamic piece, and that's a very interesting move for the Timberwolves. I think I'm excited as hell to see, what LaMelo looks like for the Timberwolves, but
Uh,
I'm also super excited for this Hornets team. I think they took an asset
didn't
that
they sign Kobe White too?
Yeah, Kobe White to a multi-year deal now, I believe, too, which he was, I think they've they lost, that dynamic wild card at the top, but they've expanded their depth. They're gonna continue to develop not just Knipple and Brandon Miller, but I've always been high on what I think Ryan Kalkbrenner can be as a big in this league. I don't know if he's gonna be a multi all-star guy by any means, but as a consistent big that can stretch the floor, that can be a rim protector off the bench or even a starting role if he needs to be. I love him. I love what he profiles as. Um, I don't know. I don't, this isn't they're not fully all in, but they're definitely
No,
pushing.
headed in the right direction and
They're
forced.
pushing to compete with the top teams in the East and see how far they can make it, and I don't see any reason why they can't compete with at least the middle to the lower middle of the East this year.
I think their peak is sliding into like that fifth seed, fourth seed type deal.
Mhm.
Um,
Unless we see just an incredible step from Knipple, and not to say that him and Brandon Miller didn't have good seasons already, but if they still stay healthy and they take a big step, then we're talking maybe even higher in the East.
you're this is why sometimes trading your best asset is the move in order to successfully prepare for your future. LaMelo Ball is a great basketball player.
I love
Let's
LaMelo.
not
I love
we're
that
not
guy.
taking away from him at all. But what he was beginning to become was expensive. So now you trim that expense out of there. You have to start thinking with a business mindset here. You
Mhm.
trim that asset out. You get rid of Miles Bridges as well, who's an undersized big who can't really shoot that well. And then you go out, you go sign Kobe White, is just a energizer bunny. The guy plays with insane heart, can really shoot the three. You go get Grayson Allen, who can also really shoot the three, but has also shown the ability to be a number one scorer if people aren't going.
Yeah,
uh Con Knuppel shooting 40+% from three again. Let's go see another year of that. Brandon
yeah,
Miller average can go to that being a one. He can go be the number one because he has number one ability.
yeah,
No,
absolutely he does.
So
They also
Nas Reed, you bring in Nas Reed. Now Nas Reed can be a number one as well
yeah,
because he has number one ability.
absolutely. I think
So
they're more made against they're more prepared against possible injuries. They bring in Royce O'Neal too, another good veteran piece, Dorian Finney-Smith. I mean, I don't know, I like the way they're moving. I don't
they're
think they didn't do anything ridiculous though, like, they didn't do anything
dramatic.
they didn't burn
They didn't
James
overthink
Harden
it.
or something, they just keep their cap decent to improve their depth and to try to push and see how far they can get this thing with these guys, and I love it.
You get rid of 2 contracts and you get a boatload of players that now you've expanded your shooting ability because Miles Bridges, like I said, was not that great of a three-point shooter. He could shoot it, but he not at the clip that now this now new Hornets team has.
Mhm.
They've got shooting out the buns now, man. It's crazy.
Yeah,
So they are going to be frisky yet again. So don't be surprised if you see the Hornets. Holy smokes, the Hornets have won 7 in a row in the month of January. That's going to be a thing
yeah,
at their peak.
absolutely.
So
Um, I'm scrolling through some of these other things. Mitchell re-signed with the Cavs. You got Wemby, obviously a rookie extension there. Trent Jr. on a big deal with the Bucks. I know there was a little bit of controversy, like the league kind of looking into how much he's getting paid. I don't know exactly why that is. I'd have to research that more, but I saw that kind of popped up on my Twitter. Um, Hachimura moves across down to the Clippers. The Clippers just
that
to
shook
me,
me a little bit because why the heck would you go to the Clippers, man? They're not even they
they're
weren't
just
as
an they're an odd team. They're just
yeah, you're closer with playing with Luca than you would be playing with who's the Clipper star now? Darius Garland?
yeah, but they have a lot of, like, pieces that I don't hate. It's just, like, a weird assembly of a roster. I don't know. We'll talk about the Kawhi controversy too. Kata returns to the Celtics. Tari Eason's re-signed, with the Rockets. Anthony Simons got a deal with the 76ers. Kelly Oubre to the Pacers. I kinda like that for the Pacers. I think
Love it.
we can't forget that Halliburton's coming back, and that Pacers team was dangerous with him, so I'm excited for him to be back, this year and see what happens. The Knicks got, Mitchell Robinson. So the Knicks, said, we struggle that
Lost him.
the Knick sorry, the Boston said we struggle with the bigs, and they went out and they re-signed Kata and they get Mitchell
I'm in.
Robinson.
Yeah.
Um, you know, there's a few interesting things here. Um,
It's also showing me a little bit, Sam. They're starting to value the meaning of having a really good big.
yeah,
And sometimes a really good big for your team means a guy like Mitchell Robinson who does nothing but defend the rim. He runs, he's in shape, he blocks shots. He's a
mhm,
great dunker spot guy.
mhm,
And that's literally what Boston needs at this point because now it's Jason Tatum's show. It's
yeah,
going to be the Jason Tatum show. And Boston runs off of analytics. So they looked at the analytics, said, we're more successful when Jason Tatum takes a lot more of the shots. So that's what we're going to go with.
yeah.
And that Boston relationship with Jaylen Brown, it soured really quickly. Jaylen was saying a couple of things that I may not have agreed with. You don't ever say this is the best season. This is the most fun season I've ever had
After
when
winning a title in a Finals MVP,
like,
you
what are
don't
you
say that?
talking about, bro? What?
A
What?
wild thing to say, on live.
Maybe I don't understand the context, but how it was perceived by the naked eye was that sounded a little selfish, my dog. Like, Imma
Yeah,
need to get it together.
yeah, it was certainly a strange thing, talk about, and, yeah, and I wanna talk about his move to Philly and Philly, in just a second, to replace what they lost in Royce O'Neal and Grayson Allen, the Suns snagged, Luke Kennard, so really accurate
Same,
three-point
but
shooter.
not the same, but Luke Kennard is a sniper for
It's
sure.
not sniper, and, that team loves to shoot, so I appreciate that, Miami needs depth. Miami traded a lot of their depth away to get their big acquisition and keeping star power in Miami. They got Giannis, they got Bam. They got Tim Hardaway on a 1-year deal. I like Tim Hardaway Jr. He goes where his dad, played a lot of years
Yeah.
to Miami, so I think that's interesting. Robert Williams resigns with the Portland. I just think there's a lot of teams that have made. I haven't seen. Have you seen any deal? And it's still early. I think we got the big splashes early, but we'll also get, I'm sure, big splashes late. Have you seen any deal that's like you've been like, aside from the Gary Trent one that's apparently being investigated? Have you seen anything that you've been like, I don't know about that?
No, not really. Because what I really think the NBA needs to do this year, Sam,
Hmm.
is to truly raise the interest level again. Because the last cou- the last few years, right? We can see that the NBA is kind of taking a backseat to pretty much every other professional sport at its peak.
Hmm.
And the NBA needs to continue to have more young stars rising, more competitiveness, no more, the tanking stuff. Nobody wants to see that playing for a
No.
basketball team.
And I
So,
think I think a ton of these teams have done exactly that. What you're talking about, where they're pushing, aside from a couple teams, they're all pushing in a kind of way to attempt to, at least preseason, try to make the playoff. I think there's teams that definitely still have issues. Oh, I also forgot Andrew Wiggins, which we've discussed already previously, but he went to the Heat too. So that's another piece with Tim Hardaway, which so the Heat, still lost a lot of their depth, but they're bringing in
yeah,
some
a
guys.
lot of depth and shooting.
But
So,
but but I don't mind Tim Hardaway Jr., Andrew Wiggins, Giannis, and Bam on the floor together. I like, as a Mizzou guy, I like Drew Smith. I don't know if he's a true starting point guard in the league, but he can certainly play a role off the bench still for them. So definitely interesting. I do actually. Do have a gripe. I asked you about any piece or anything move that you thought was crazy. It's not a gripe with Jaylen Brown going to the Philadelphia 76ers. The Philly, and listen, it's a good guard rotation. You have Maxey, Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown. You sign Anthony Simons and you draft LeBaron Philon. I don't. I'm a little confused and just, I don't love the 76ers anyway, but it just feels like a lot of shooting guards. Feels like a lot of shooting guards, and I don't understand why there were. And listen, it was a later first round pick, but this is a deep draft. Why the LeBaron Philon pick if you have all those other things? Because I'm concerned after what they did this year, which you went to the season with Maxi and why am I blanking on his name? He's now on the Thunder and played great minutes for them this season. Uh, uh, he was great in his rookie season. What's his name? The guy that Philly traded to the Thunder or gave to the Thunder.
um,
What is going on with me? What It's late, but I mean, it's hoops after dark. I got to be better than this. Come on, man. What am I doing? Jared McCain. Good lord, Jared McCain. I'm just concerned that for some reason, mid-season, Philly's going to be like, "Oh, LeBaron Fallon's had some good games." If Edgecombe gets hurt and all of a sudden Philon's like coming off the bench and playing really well, I swear to God, if I Philly, because they have all this depth, gives for not enough away a young, promising player on a good, cheap deal to the Spurs or to OKC or to Boston. If they do this shit again, where they have listen, and it's probably decent. It's decent business, I suppose. But God bless, guys. I mean, something that I feel like most NBA, even casual fans, know is Joel Embiid's a really good player. He really struggles to play an entire season, and they need and like Drummond. Drummond played a great role for them in the playoffs and in the season. in the regular season. Why not? And listen, I don't want to ruffle Joel Embiid's feathers if I'm the front office and sign a young center and like advertise him as the future of the team, but can we not try to like get a forward or a center in here to extend some of the minutes?
Nope.
Like we're drafting Phylon, and yeah, that was before the Simmons deal. And was it? I don't know if it was before Jaylen Brown, but you had those irons in the fire, and and you still draft a shooting guard.
Yep.
I
That's
just
exactly what it is.
I don't know, it irks me, and it would irk me less if they hadn't given Jared McCain to the Thunder, and Jared McCain looks great for them. It would irk me less if I'm not worried about Edgecombe getting hurt early in the season, and all of a sudden Edgecombe is on the Spurs. And I'm just sitting here like, why is VJ Edgecombe also on this team? Or why is he now starting on the Celtics? Or on another one of these teams, like, if you give him to Chicago or somebody else and whatever, sure. But like, if they do this thing again, where they give him away for less than what he is, and a talented young player, and they don't give up on him, but they give him to a good team where they just get an expanded depth that is insane, I'm gonna be annoyed. I'm going to be annoyed, and I don't understand in a draft this big why you'd go with LeBaron Philon, who I think is a really good player, when you have already your guard, clearly your guard, you were set. You were set on your guards, and you sign another.
You live by the sword, Sam, you're gonna die by the sword. So
I
if you
suppose.
going
I
if
suppose. How?
you if you're gonna invest in all these guards, you better be ready to deal one of them when it comes time to pay them, because that's
Yeah,
exactly what's gonna end up happening.
yeah, and and I appreciate good business, and I understand it. It's just, I don't know. The draft pick, and if don't sign Simons, or just what it feels like one of those guys is going to get locked out of the rotation
Yeah,
in
of
some
course.
way,
There's not enough bodies.
and like, I don't know. I think LeBaron Fallon's a good player. I think all these guys are good players. So why I want to see them all play. I don't want to deal with this will they won't they thing again from Philadelphia and then have them be shipped off. So that's my only gripe I've had so far with some of the NBA moves. Is there anything else you want to talk about in acquisitions? Another interesting trade is Kawhi.
Oh God.
Do you like? Listen, we'll talk about that in just a second. What's going on with Kawhi and with Steve Ballmer? But in terms of if this trade goes through, Kawhi on the Raptors with this roster with these pieces, why not? Why not the North?
Why
I
not?
mean, why
He
not?
plays at the elite level that he just played at, which he just showed us, hey, I can play 70 plus games.
Mhm.
I just did it.
Yeah,
So if he can do that again for a season or two, Toronto's scary too. Because
yeah,
Kawhi at his peak, nuts.
and they feel like they have a lot of length, like a lot, very similar to the build of the Toronto team that Kawhi won with. Like very lengthy, young, good pieces. Like I think that could be also a really good team if they're healthy and with this. I mean, they just made a little playoff, like not run, but like they were in the playoffs.
No,
They
so
made,
they had that taste of it to be like, yo, this is what the atmosphere feels like. This
yeah,
is what the North feels like.
yeah.
Mm.
But then we also have the controversy of that trade is in a holding pattern until the NBA investigation into Kawhi Leonard's and Steve Ballmer's, I don't know, uh, finances, payment, however things were going with the Clippers, whatever controversies were there. It's business. It's the NBA. You got to do what you. I don't know. I don't have a lot of things to say about it aside from it's kind of weird that Kawhi's mixed up in it. He just feels like, and he's just such a quiet, like reserved guy, and then he's in this super huge controversy, and it's just kind of odd. And Steve Ballmer, and it's just a lot of weirdness going on with whatever happened. And I hope that this trade still goes through because I think Kawhi on a contending team and another another one of those teams in the East where we're like, the East may not be as good at the top, but gosh, there's 12 teams that all say,
Gosh, there's
"Why not us?"
sandwich.
Yeah. Yeah, you have the top of the West, which is, the Timberwolves, the Spurs, the Thunder, which I don't know if the East can quite compete with that, but you have the Cavs, the Celtics, the Knicks, the Heat, the Toronto Raptors, especially if they get Kawhi, Halliburton coming back to the Pacers, the Charlotte team that we talked about, Philly, like, you have so many teams that are like, "We want a top 6 playoff spot." It's only gonna be 6 spots, and there's 10 teams that want the Magic. Like, there's so many teams that are like, "Why can't we be there?" So, I wanted to go through, but who knows with what has come out about some of the financial dealings in the Clippers organization, whether that's gonna happen, or I certainly hope we at least don't s we Kawhi won't miss significant time, but if that needs to happen, that needs to happen, I suppose.
Yeah, my wonderful mother, she always taught me it's the quiet ones you gotta watch out for, and this is what I mentioned to you before we started. Those quiet ones sometimes have the deepest and darkest of secrets.
Yeah,
So, um, I'm not gonna sit here and act educated on the situation because I'm not. I don't know what Steve Ballmer and Kawhi Leonard were up to, but it doesn't matter. Whatever punishment needs to happen, let's make sure we get this trade through so we can get back to the money maker, which is Kawhi Leonard on the basketball court.
absolutely,
And
100%.
he needs to be punished. Give him his punishment, and let's get it on. Let's get it on over with because he's got enough money to pay whatever fine he's got. He's gonna do the time, whatever you're talking
Yeah,
about. Let's come on. Let's
yeah,
go ahead and knock this out.
yeah, and Clippers, can we just what if we just don't have massive owner controversies? Clippers, how about that? That's what I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. The Lakers are the show. You guys are just like the controversy. Like every
Mhm.
time I see you, you got something going on. But I digress.
Yeah, they're just always something's always going on with ownership of the Clippers for some
Yeah,
reason.
yeah.
Yeah,
Let's move
move
back.
on from that, but just had to be mentioned. Well, do you wanna LeBron has still not given us where he's going. He dropped a trust the process in his last interview, which people were like, "Oh my god, Philly."
That's Philly.
I would be beside myself if LeBron signed with Philly. It would be just jarring to
Weird,
see LeBron in that uniform.
weird.
It'd be jarring to see LeBron in most NBA uniforms of teams that he hasn't been on, but especially Philly for some reason. Philly or Boston would just be like, whoa,
Disgusting.
whoa.
But,
Because like we've had over the years the Knicks LeBron love. We obviously have seen him on the Lakers. We could see, there's always the talk about the maybe the greatest retirement tour of all time with him on the Golden State Warriors. But something like Philly would be wild to see. What do you think about LeBron? What have you been seeing? What do you think?
I love me some LeBron. Everybody should know this by now. So I've had my eyes very closely on this. Um, now that once he's agreed to sign the vet minimum, that's when all hell broke loose. Let me just say that, okay? And what I do think LeBron is doing is just playing the game, playing the waiting game, taking, much time as he needs to make this decision.
No.
But where I do think he's going to end up, once he says, once he got that message out of trust the process, Philly became my number one spot. Um, but I think Golden State would be a cool number two.
Mhm.
Um, because he loves Steph. He doesn't have to move very far. He's got private plane. It's a 30-minute plane ride. Go
Yeah.
ahead, take that out real quick. Um, but those are the only real two. If he goes back to Cleveland, that's when I'll scream. I'll scream
I
because
don't
LeBron
I
and
don't
Donovan Mitchell and James Harden, that is not going to win you an NBA championship. I'm sorry. The two teams that make enough sense to where he can go and compete, bearing all injuries are turned off. He goes to Golden State, they stay healthy, they compete. He goes to Philly, they really compete because now you literally just added that forward that you're talking about that when Joel Embiid goes out, because we all know he's just big, he's gonna miss time. That's Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
We've talked about it time and time again. I love Joel Embiid. His talent is in,
Undeniable.
incredible. But he gets hurt. He's just a big body, and sometimes big bodies just can't handle that.
Yeah.
So when he goes down, guess what? You still have a lineup of Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, LeBron James back from
Hey,
center.
shoot. Hey, I was complaining about the shooting guards, but a proven winner in the league has been LeBron and shooters.
Hello,
I
that
do
is a proven winner.
the fourth team on the list. I'm also not low on the Heat,
No,
obviously, but something that also wears on LeBron is having to like when you go to the 76ers, like you talked about, you might have to play a little center and power forward, especially on the Heat. He can be a facilitator.
yeah,
And he doesn't have to bang around down low. He has Bam Adebayo and Giannis to do that.
yeah. But where's the shooting?
W-
Where's the formula that LeBron James has had for all of his titles?
Yeah,
I
unless
just
they
thought back to it. I was just like, did he have shooters on those Heat teams? Yeah, yeah. Did he have shooters on the? Yeah,
Ray Allen, Mike Miller, Chris Bosh.
yeah. Did he have shooters on that bubble team? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
shooters. Of
the dude,
course, Miami could certainly say, "Hey, we're signing shooters. Don't you worry," and sign them. And I don't think though Andrew Wiggins and Tim Hardaway are bad, shooters. They're not exactly the top, you know, but they're not bad, so I still wouldn't be shocked if Miami would say, "Hey, we're bringing in a couple more shooters, and you can facilitate, and you can be our main guy facilitating most of the time, and you don't have to wear your body out down low. We have Giannis for that. You can push passes up to Giannis running the floor. You
that's a
know,
dunk
you
every time, man, because
yeah,
Giannis only needs about 3 steps.
yeah,
One team that I thought that would blow me away that I know it's probably not going to happen, but Minnesota. What if you went there?
oh man,
What if you went there?
that would be
Imagine
pure cinema.
You have and Lamelo Ball getting all that knowledge from the King, all of that because he's a savant, man. One thing that nobody's gonna ever LeBron didn't know the game. LeBron knows the
He's
game.
he
He's
can
just
he'll talk he can talk in depth about a play from 2006 regular season versus the Charlotte Bobcats.
yeah.
Like
He has a brain that I've just never ever seen on a basketball. We
yeah,
1-1 We're gonna move on.
yeah. I think obviously everything LeBron does is pretty intentional. Uh,
Exactly.
do I, I just don't know. None of these teams fully have. I just think none of them have the full commitment of him. Yeah, I don't think he's pushing this to like make a big announcement. He already has a decision made. I think he just genuinely doesn't have a decision made.
I think he
Do you
does.
really?
I do. I think he does, and I think he was just waiting for certain pieces to fall into place, seeing how the roster was formatted, seeing X, Y, and Z. LeBron's been calculated since the day he walked into the league. That the only thing I've ever questioned about him was going on that damn TV and announcing he was going to freaking Miami. That was the that was the that could have been the turning freaking point of when I started hating LeBron. But I got past it. I digressed, and we are here now.
We
But
are here.
that is the only thing I hated. But it had me glued to the TV for a smooth hour. Thank you, LeBron, for that.
Yeah. Is he gonna do another hour-long TV special sitting down
If he
with
does it again, I'll turn it off. I'll be like, you know what? Just give me the ESPN notification, please.
you'll see the clip, you'll see the notification,
I'll
you'll
see the
see the clip
notification.
where he announces it.
Oh, and then I'll call you and be like, all right, get your butt on the camera. Now I
Yeah,
gotta go.
yeah. Now we can talk about it. Um, uh, the league has, we never. I don't know what if it's just basketball or if it's just every sports league. I mean, I said I wouldn't talk about soccer again. The Real Madrid situation at the end of the year was certainly fucking wild. I
Yeah.
don't know if I ever told you. I certainly put it in our chat about what was going on in that locker room. But the NBA just kind of leans itself to just being sometimes just a theater. whether it's just LeBron announcing where he's going to sign to, whether it's Draymond Udonis Haslam getting into it about Draymond punching Jordan Poole in the face, whether it's Bam and Tyler Hero getting into a physical altercation at Summer League. They never let us down with the play on the court or the drama.
But
So
the NBA needs that to stay relevant these days, Sam. That's
mhm,
because, we've gotten to the point where there is no dominant team anymore. We've gotten to the point where there's not a consistent champion. We've had 9 straight now, 9 straight champions, different.
yeah, I think so. I mean, it's been since 2019, right?
2019. I'm sorry, that doesn't add. That doesn't math.
But I don't know but it's Raptors, Lakers, Nuggets, Celtics. You had the Thunder, you have the Knicks, and we're missing a team
The
in the
Warriors.
Warriors that won again. But yeah, it's been rotating through, which I think is kind of fun. Like I loved that every year we're like, oh, this is gonna be a dynasty.
Now, yeah, so now we've gotten that. We checked that off the box. Here is where the NBA needs to get more interesting is when we need to have different teams vying for the playoffs every year. We need to make
Yeah.
sure we have some excitement during the regular season.
Mhm.
Make these games truly mean something. You can't
Yeah.
just phone it in against the Hornets. Guess what? Because they'll shoot your ass out of the gym.
Yeah.
You can't phone it in against the Suns because Devin Booker will drop 50 on you.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna phone it in against the Clippers because guess what? Darius Garland's gonna come down. He'll give you 30. So
Yeah.
it's just it needs to become more of a holy smokes. If I miss an NBA regular season game, I could miss a change in the standings here
Yeah.
because the race is so tight. We've only got a half game lead over Boston. Blah 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 blah.
Mhm.
X, Y, and
Yeah.
Z.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
NBA needs more drama like that. And then during the offseason, what I think LeBron is doing, he's keeping the NBA relevant. How we've talked about the NBA all summer. We
Yeah.
talked about the NBA all summer. We're going to be going into August talking about the NBA when it has been done since June.
Yeah. And
So
the summer has certainly, between NFL and soccer and everything else, has certainly tried to pull us away, but the NBA
it has stayed
has a way of
relevant
pulling you right back in.
with FIFA.
Yeah.
Even with FIFA, the NBA has found a way to stay relevant. That is what I'm talking about. You need to
Mm,
find a way to stay relevant year round, even when you're not in season. The NFL
mm,
is exciting year round, even when it's not in season.
mhm.
We are
Abs
excited. I'm excited for August,
Yeah,
like
it's
preseason football. Let's
yeah,
go.
I mean, and I am I don't know how I keep looping it back in. It's sad that there's only 2 World Cup games left, and one of them is a 3rd place game where it's not as important.
Sure.
It's sad that that's passed, but it makes me so happy that it's I don't have to wait. I don't have to wait, that I have MLB has had a good season, that home run derby was big, and then we're right back into
That was fun.
basketball, football.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah, go Jordan Walker, baby. St. Louis Cardinals back on the map, back being hated because we're good again. Let's talk about some basketball that's in season then. The WNBA.
Whole this go on for years. Let me just let, let me
Go
just
ahead.
start off saying this.
Take the floor.
No, let me just start off by saying this. I have I'm a basketball fan. So I've always respected the NBA and the WNBA. I have never seen the WNBA in a better place, talent-wise, coaching-wise, star power-wise.
Packed arenas.
NBA is in a really, really good spot right now. Here's where they're missing me a little bit, right? First of all, their commissioner
This was ridiculous.
did on the Dan Patrick show, had it all scheduled. You don't miss those meetings for anything. That is an opportunity for you to put your brand on a platform that people watch and get some driving some more money into your pockets.
And can I say this before you keep going on this, which you're absolutely on the right track. We are in the midst of a great World Cup on USA soil. In the mid that this Dan Patrick episode was being recorded on the on the site at a major golf tournament. There are NBA things happening. There's football acquisitions happening. There is summer league. There's so many things happening, and they got and Kathy Ethelbert, Engelbert, whatever her exact last name is,
Engelbert.
was given a part of that slot. I mean, they are on sitting on the course of a major with a World Cup going on, and she's given an interview slot with Dan Patrick on primetime TV. Go ahead.
And she skips it for golf,
I just
cancels it for golf. So, so
what like what
what?
more do you what is more do you want? What more is like would Adam Silver have ever skipped that unless
No,
something serious happened? No.
unless somebody has passed away, unfortunately, in his family, Adam Silver's not missing that meeting because
No.
that's another way of getting your brand on a platform during the World Cup, during a major
Dur-
golf tournament,
During an off season.
during an off season.
Yeah.
So, Kathy, major dropping of the ball. Think about this, Sam. The WNBA just a few years ago, I believe before, we had the emergence of Caitlin Clark and Asia Wilson coming into the league, they were taking regular ass buses, regular ass planes to get to their games.
Commercial
Guess
plays.
what? Guess what? Since Asia Wilson, CC, all of them have taken over the league, private planes, private buses.
More
They
people at this.
selling out arenas.
Mm,
You go to an Aces game here in Vegas, packed. You
wow.
go to a Fever game in Indiana,
Wow.
packed.
Wow.
Go to the Dallas game in a Wings game, packed. Portland, packed. Golden
N-
State, packed.
New York.
Packed.
And
So
the World
the
Cup's winding down. You're seated at a golf major, but you have a chance to market your because like we talked about Adam Silver's in the offseason. WNBA is going on. You have a chance to bring eyes as the World Cup is winding down and you're still pre NBA, pre NFL, pre college football to say, hey, we got 4 weeks ahead where you can watch. There's still great baseball going on, but the other sport you can tune into is the WNBA,
WNBA
and
hoops.
she skips it.
She skips it. The WNBA has never been on TV as much as it is right now. They are on live TV. They have multiple channels they can appear on, and that is just a Kathy. You got to get a hold of your league. You got to get control of it, man. You got to. I I was so shocked by that, man. And the
Yeah,
WNBA has never been in a better place, man. Asia
no,
Wilson is still the best player in the entire world.
yeah,
But you have players like Olivia Miles from Minnesota, Paige Beckers from Dallas.
you
Of
still
course, you got CC from Indiana.
you have the known
Uh,
quality Sabrina Ionescu too.
Sabrina Ionescu from New York.
Yeah,
You even have the expansion teams have a woman who scored 50 points in a game. She's an absolute sniper out there.
yeah,
The Golden State Valkyrie are so fun to watch. The WNBA is in a great place, and I really hope she gets a handle on this because this is a time to strike while the iron is hot. Because now look at the WNBA contracts now, Sam.
yeah,
Huge. They're
yeah,
getting paid.
they're
And
getting
there's only gonna go up unless it's only gonna get better if you start making things like that. So,
yeah.
Kathy,
And the use of the Shanks shot and the B-roll for the Dan Patrick show really as a sports media guy, the use of that shot to pile on, very funny, very creative. It just really silly to cut to her, just Green's here, she's in the bunker, and the shot goes that way, a la Big T, so that
it
just
broke my heart, man, because like I said, man, I respect the game so much. I love me some hoops.
yeah,
But now we're seeing women's hoops take an extreme leap that it hasn't taken
yeah,
since Lisa Leslie was in the league back in the 2000s.
yeah,
And she didn't even make the contracts that some of these girls were making. If Lisa
yeah,
Leslie was playing still, man, she'd be making about 10 million a year. That girl was so damn
yeah,
good.
yeah, and just
So
really disappointing choice there, what else you to talk about the WNBA? You've hit on a lot of players that are playing really well, I'm glad that Caitlin Clark is back healthy. I watched the Aces Fever game, very, very fun game to watch. I mean, the WNBA is getting so there's so there's so much depth and so many like stars emerging and just that have emerged that I mean, we were talking about before we started, like they could expand more. Like
They
they're
can't grow. That's what I'm saying.
some of these teams have ladies coming off the bench. You know, this their seventh, eighth option that I'm like they. I don't know why. Like this girl looks just as good as the starters. Why isn't she a starter? So you know, they this is their time to strike and disappointing choice. You also wanted to talk about you mentioned some Caitlin Clark disrespect.
Yeah, here's I Caitlin Clark is one of the better players to watch in the W. She is dynamic with the
I would say the
basketball.
number one in my mind. She is crazy.
Dynamic. Absolutely dynamic. Where I think she needs to be careful, and I might get a little pushback on this. I the way she's, she's complaining to the referees. I listen, she gets refereed in a different way than a lot of the females in the WNBA. And I admit that wholeheartedly. But where I think she needs to be careful is going off on the referees when a situation probably shouldn't have happened if you had just boxed the damn girl out.
Yeah.
But there was a play against the Valkyrie, I believe they were playing, and Caitlin Clark didn't box out her man, and her man sprints right around her. It was a terrible call to call on Aaliyah Boston, where it was like a bump or a non-bump out of bounds, and the referee called a foul. Caitlin goes off. She goes off on the referee. The
Yeah.
referee was better than me because I'd have been like, Caitlin, you need to.
Yeah.
That whole reason that play happened was
Mhm.
because Caitlin Clark did not do the fundamentals of basketball, which is box out. It
Yeah.
was your man that went for the ball and ended up causing that entire situation. So I need I need her to be careful. You
Yeah.
can be the face of the league and let your play do a whole hell of a lot of talking. She had a
Yeah.
45-10 game tonight. First time that's ever been done in the W.
Yeah.
So be careful, CC. You got the star power now, and
Mhm.
don't use your platform to to better educate the league on how to properly officiate y'all
Yeah.
games,
I
as opposed
do
to just going the hell off.
I do I agree. She does need to like there is definitely some like a little bit of like almost like a Luca, like which just like constant with the ref.
Yeah, it feels like it's every play. I get
Yeah.
it.
But I also do understand from sometimes from her perspective, she has taken injuries already in her early career, and
Yeah.
she does and teams treat her like early 1980s Michael Jordan. They foul her, they get physical with her, and it does get a little out of hand. And so I do, while I agree with what you're saying, I also do understand some of her side too, where she's like, "I'm getting kind of mauled out here. Like, can we get a little bit like this
Can I
isn't
get
the,
a little grace?
yeah, like this isn't the '80s. Like, why am I getting clotheslined? Like,
And she is one of the reasons that the W has taken one of those
yeah,
steps. I
yeah,
mean,
and
like,
you don't want to show
it's one of
favoritism.
the reasons that they're
You don't want,
traveling private right now.
yeah, and you don't want to show favoritism, but at the same time, when you have
Protect your
this
star.
when you when you have this opportunity, it's not going to be good for your league if she's walking around in crutches. So, you know, I think it goes both ways with her, but she definitely does also. She has a problem with getting into the refs a lot, but she also sometimes is justified, and the league does treat her. There, like the one graphic that came out a little while ago, I forget, but like it just didn't have her on it. It was like the stars of the league.
Oh
And I
yeah,
was
like
and I
W
was like, "Guys, you gotta
the
I don't know."
WNBA all time greats and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
and I was like, "Why?" Like, I just don't understand the, like, disrespect there when it's, like, pretty clear, like, what she is and is going to be. It's just a little weird, like, I don't wanna, like, because it gets people take it very politically, sometimes, the WNBA, which is annoying, it's a sports league. Um, but just in pure sporting sense, you're like pretty clearly she should be like Shaq talks about sometimes where he was put on it was early in his career, but he was put on NBA top 50 list, like when they do like they did the 50th anniversary in the mid 90s, and he was one of the players that was put on the top 50. And he says sometimes he's like, I felt a little bit like it was early for me to be on that list. And, to have guys like Bob McAdoo didn't make it. And he's like, I felt like it was early for me to be on that list. I understand that. And like sometimes we don't want to anoint players too early, but also in the case of the WNBA, where her entrance in the league signaled a significant uprise in viewership, both on TV and in the arenas, and money. We can talk about what she is going to. I mean, like you said, 45-10, first time ever. Like when
Yeah, no
she's
other player has done that.
she's incredible. So I don't understand why the league insists on like sometimes pretending like she's not super important to the league, which she is. But there's been some great. I will admit I'm not the largest. I definitely. It doesn't help that I don't have like a team to root for specifically. But
Two.
like, but I try to tune in, especially if it's an Aces or a Fever game and she's healthy, Caitlin Clark's healthy. That I do try to tune in, and it's been really good. So good for the WNBA. I hope they continue. And I just super disappointing choice from Kathy to not go on the Dan Patrick show when this is the perfect time. I mean, this is what soccer has done so well in both World Cups they've hosted in America. In '94, they increased the viewership of soccer, and I feel like this World Cup has increased the viewership of soccer, and they do pretty good at trying to be like, hey, to market soccer. Like, why would the WNBA also not use this time where it's something like a World Cup is here? It's not like that, but it's like we have a good moment right now. We have an All-Star break in MLB coming up, and we have about 4 weeks until college football starts.
Oh my God.
Why don't we market this? And the commissioner just says, eh,
Nah.
nah.
Because once college football starts and everything else starts to reboot, it's over with.
It's hard. It's soccer struggles the same way. Baseball struggle. Like football is king in this country, and you have to strike to increase your viewership of your sport. This is America. This is a sports driven country, tons of viewership in it. And if you want to grow your sport, you have to strike when the iron's hot. And just I don't know who on if it was a personal decision or somebody on her team told her, "Nah, this isn't worth it." Even if Dan Patrick is going to ask you tough questions,
You got to
like
answer them.
you have to answer that. That's your job. You are the commissioner. It's not. I don't know what went into the decision, but it was the wrong one.
Yeah, I would really want to sit down. I want to be a fly on that wall when that decision was made
Yeah.
because holy smokes.
Somebody in
Uh,
the room, whether it was a PR person that said you shouldn't go or whether it was her, I really hope that at least somebody was like, "Hey, you should."
you should totally go on that show, but
Yeah,
I digress.
yeah.
That is the
Any
that was all my WNBA takes,
yeah.
man. We can
Any anything else, anybody else you wanna shout out that you've enjoyed in summer league? Maybe somebody underrated? Anything else that you think is underrated, you're interested in? Any other thought?
the Lakers draft pick, man, he was fun to watch this summer.
Mm, okay.
That he was really fun to watch. I'm blanking on his name, but um he shot it good from three. The Lakers were competitive, and I was like, you know what? They might have a little another piece on there, another long, lengthy shooter out there. He
Yep.
was really the only one that really stood out for me. Um,
Mhm.
I mean,
And Lakers
besides Malik. Malik was going, he was
yeah.
going crazy.
And the Lakers need those pieces because, you're going into a post LeBron era with this team, and this team with Luka needs to find a way to be more competitive with the top of with the top of the West. So,
Way
good.
they're gonna do that is with efficient shooting, making sure that guys stay healthy and, make it through
Mhm.
because, I wish we could just turn all the injuries off.
Oh,
That would get such a great product in the NBA, but it just doesn't work like that.
if only sometimes it was a video game, um, we could just turn the
Push them
sliders off.
guys to the left just a lot.
Just yeah, all the way.
All the way
All the way. It would be
of it.
although I'm pretty sure the Golden State Warriors would have won 5 or 6 rings in a row.
Have straight titles. Yeah.
Yeah, they would have won in 2019 and probably
Oh,
would have won
they would have smoked him in 20. Yeah.
in 2016. Didn't they take an injury too? But then again, the Cavs also got hurt in the 2015, so maybe not.
Yeah. The
Um,
Caps would have won 2 straight.
mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, it could have been definitely interesting. I don't have anything other on summer league to particularly say. It's been just an average summer league. I think, it's been up and down, but I think that's kind of what we expect out of summer league. So,
But it's
besides,
still we have the direction of all the teams. I don't see I just want a good NBA product to talk about on our
yeah,
sports podcast, bro. Once
yeah,
we get good NBA product, this podcast will thrive,
yeah, absolutely. And I think like we talked about, we're heading that way with a lot of the teams, and we're going to continue to get news. We're going to get more roster signings. We're going to see, we're
For
going to
LeBron.
roll into We're gonna get the LeBron signing, and we're gonna roll into the season seeing these rosters develop and maybe even get, some of that preseason news like, "Oh, this guy is unexpectedly expected to start or to really break into the rotation post summer league." So, um, really excited for it. A great podcast. Very happy that we got to talk about it.
Yeah, same, man. It was really good to see you, brother.
Absolutely excited to keep it rolling, and every day we're getting closer to another season. We're getting closer to college football coming back and NFL, and you know, tune into the World Cup final. It's gonna be electric. And you have the Falcons on your chest. You got that on.
And we rep that ATL all day, you heard me?
Yeah, yep. We'll see how it all shakes out. So I'm excited for it all to continue developing. Every day we get closer. That's all I got for tonight.
Yeah, man, same here. We will catch you guys later. Thank you all for listening. Hope you have a blessed day. And until the next time, peace out.
Like, subscribe. Thank you guys.